Okay, so I'm gonna answer two comments in this question. This comment being the first one. So, the video that you commented under, it was just like some silly, like, political joke and final points to answer to. The last part of Slim's video where Slim was asking me, like, what do I do to help the immigrants? So yeah, I just made like a joke, saying like I voted for Kamala Harris, which honestly would be more beneficial to the middle class, lower class, and the immigrant population. But to answer this question, no, like asking me like what am I doing to like help immigrants or any people that would be classified as slaves because they're getting paid little to nothing for their labor, that's not showing how poorly my argumentation is set. Like, again, like I've talked about this in the prior video, Christians like to do this thing where you're arguing about a certain subject and then they want to ask you, what are you doing to help the subject that's being debated about in the conversation, whether it be kids that are going to classrooms where the 10 Commandments are mandated to be hung up on classroom walls, because if not, the teacher will lose their teaching license, or in this case, immigrants or people who are considered slaves in our country. What is frustrating is you're going to ask somebody who's struggling in a society where we have corrupt and bad politicians that are screwing them over, we have corporations and companies that are paying them not enough to live. People have many problems, including like mental health and including like just general things happening in society. You're going to ask that person, what are they doing to help, as if they can help, right? But you stand in front of a God that has all of the omni traits, and you basically like block him from any like accountability for not doing anything to like help people in poor situations. This God is all powerful. This God is omnipresent. This God knows future propositions before he creates anybody. Right? He has the ability to actually make change and do something and help people at little cost to himself. And you guys play like debate defense and like intellectual or apologetic defense to defend him, but blame your fellow man or your fellow woman that's like struggling to pay their bills and struggling in a society that's set up to screw people over for why the world is bad and why aren't they doing anything to help. They can barely help themselves. I can barely help myself. So I think my position is valid, and you should stop questioning people who can't help themselves or help anybody else, right? And question the God that has the power to help anybody and everybody at little cost to himself, but chooses not to. Questioning the human over questioning God and defending him for some reason is just absurd to me. As far as like historical events, I could probably like learn more about like God and the things that he's done in the history according to the Bible, and maybe try to understand his reasons behind why he does things. I'm doing research on that, and I'll figure that out in the future, I guess. As far as like my anger, I think my anger is like perfectly placed, right? Christians are telling me that I should be like worshiping or paying homage to a God that is all-knowing, all-powerful, has all the omni traits. I don't know how many times I have to say that, and he has literally created the game of life to essentially have all of the terrible things we see in the world today. Mass confusion about interpretation of the literature that is the Bible. The Bible is just a giant puzzle piece, right? You have to go and look at the ancient context, right, to understand the Bible. And then just, again, a long list of like evils that are happening, right? And God knew all of this was going to happen before he created anything, and he set up all the domino pieces and flicked the first domino. God sees everybody that's suffering. God sees all the parasites, all the diseases, all the conditions that inhibit people from living their life to the fullest. And at any moment now, he could hop in and help any of us or stop any of it. And he chooses not to. So put this into perspective. God prefers that people suffer. God prefers that all the evil in this world happens rather than to step in at little cost to himself and do something about it. And that God is going to look at you and say, even though I'm allowing all this suffering, I still love you? How does that make sense? And And saying that God tells you that he still loves you is granting him way too much ground. He doesn't even speak to us. He just left men with a Bible to share with the rest of us. Essentially, like, Christianity and its message is no better than any other religion with a message and a book. God couldn't do anything else to stand out. And he doesn't do anything in 2024. Just coincidences and things that could easily be explained by naturalism. God does not speak to us. God is not interacting with us. And he sat aside and watched the transatlantic slavery trade happen and many other terrible events that are happening in the past and also in society currently.